What is up with it? Today we are going to be going over all of the deck lists from this past weekend's Treasure Cup. So we'll go ahead and start with the North American Treasure Cup hosted by 401 Games. It looks like Doflamingo, unsurprisingly, was the most represented deck at 195, followed by Purple Luffy, and then Shanks, and then BY Luffy. BY Luffy performing extremely well. This is one of its better showings in '09. And very notably, Blackbeard did very well. Um, Shanks doing all right. Purple Luffy, like, falling off of a cliff. I kind of wonder why that is. Sometimes I kind of think like these decks, like Purple Luffy, Shanks, um, their representation, like Purple Luffy has performed really well. Sometimes with those sorts of decks, it really just comes down to like how much did those players really pair into Doflamingo? Blackbeard, that's a big one. Like maybe these players were just able to either get the lucky side of the bracket or um, they got, favorable dice rolls or hands or whatever, right? BY Luffy, pretty surprising that both of these did well at the same time. I feel like normally if this performs really well, you would expect this to drop a little bit. Doflamingo, of course, being overrepresented in Top Cut because it is by far the best deck, and this part of the pie chart always becomes at least a little larger. So first place we have Doflamingo going 9-0. We've got 412 2Ks. Okay, only two pudding. Four teach, three Jozu, two Gravity Blade, only two Gecko Moira. Okay, pretty standard list, I would say, more or less. Second place, another Doflamingo. We've got 11 2Ks, three Jozu. So Jozu at 3 is really performing well. Only 3 buggy is wild to me. Third place still, I mean, just best deck. What do you, I mean, come on. Come on, what are we talking about here? Yo, are these all like the same list? What the hell? That's crazy. They all pulled up to the event with like basically the same list, except he's playing 2 perfume, which I personally hate. Also 2 pudding, like this should just be a third pudding. Wow, I wonder if these people worked together at all. I mean, like literally almost identical lists. Only one Robin, only 2 Bonclay. It really seems like 2 Bonclay has become pretty standard. 3 Big Moms. Yep, seems pretty standard. Lucci, we got only 3 Spandam. The Kobe, uh, um, a Soap Sheep, a Kaido. Only 3 Brook. I just 100% that is wrong. 100, you cannot convince me that 3 Brook is correct. I'm sorry. You absolutely cannot convince me 3 Brook is correct. 3 Lucky Roo, that's pretty interesting. 3 Dragon, a Goldie Roger, only 3 10 drop Shanks, only 3 Ace. Nothing super notable, but we got Doflamingo again. Only 3 teach. They're running the 2K laws. 3 Jozu. 3 Jozu seemed like it was really the wave at this Treasure Cup. I kind of wonder why. Maybe because BY did so well. Eric Quintana, shout outs to Eric. Oh, also shout outs to Vampire. Yo, let's go. Did Eric squeak in at 8? Yeah, he did. The GOAT. 2 Raigo, only 2 events. 2 Sabo, 2 Nami. Okay. 2 Makano. Okay, another Doflamingo. Only 3 Piranha, please. 3 Jozu was like very present at the top tables here. Okay, we have a Blackbeard running the full 8 2Ks, the 4 Laboons, the full 4 stages. Not running any of the tech cards, like none of the extra counter events or anything like that. RP Luffy. Okay, so they are running the Zero Juro. They're not running the full suite of ramp events. Running the Brook is kind of interesting. I'm not sure what this is for, if anyone knows. I'd love to hear. Only 3 kid, kind of interesting. Yeah, seems fine. We got Doflamingo at 12th. We got 11 2Ks, only 2 Jozu. Okay. 1 Ivankov, 1 Shirahoshi, 1 Nightmare. This looks like a little bit more like a European list to me. This is Cross at 14th, unfortunately bubbling out of top 8. 2 Ivankov, only 1 Nami, 1 Shirahoshi, 2 Raigo. Yeah, it looks like a pretty normal list. 2 Ivankov is a little interesting though. Lucci at 14th. 2 Helmeppo you don't see all the time. 2 Soap Sheep, a Kaido. Another Teach in top 16. Ooh, the Tempest Sky Slicer. I really like this card a lot. I also think this card Shockwave is pretty good. The trigger is just so nasty. I think your win rate versus Doflamingo goes up drastically if you're able to hit some of these triggers like this and Finger Pistol. If you're able to hit these early, I think your win rate like balloons. I also think Tempest Sky Slicer. I think it maybe doesn't up your win percentage too much versus Doflamingo, but I think like just in general, draw 2 in this sort of deck is pretty crazy. I'm personally a big fan of this card in Blackbeard, but most Blackbeard players do not seem to agree. So I could be wrong. Lucci, 1 Uta. That's pretty interesting. Only 2 Spandam. 1 Luffy, 1 Brook, 1 Zero Cost, 1 Soap Sheep, 1 Kaido, 1 Tashigi. None of these are like cards that you mill. Like Hina as a one of is like I could draw it or I could mill it and it could be live. All of these are like they are only good in my hand. And surely I will just draw them when I need them. I guess like Sabo is the one exception where if you mill it, it's a good mill. Another Doflamingo, only 3 Teach, 1 Law. 3 Gravity Blade, no Jozu in this list. In our first 7 and 2. So wow, a ton of people bubbled. There were like, I feel like this is more X1s than normal, but maybe I'm wrong. It might be because there was only 9 rounds instead of 10. Probably what happens when you tell everyone that we're not doing day of wait lists and then people don't show up. So you don't have enough players for 10 rounds. Yes, I am a little salty. Ooh, car D-board. Shirahoshi. Only 3 Kuzan. The Gum Gum Bell. I know Ralzo was running that. What are they running this for? If someone knows, I would love to know what they're running this for. Maybe Teach, I'm not sure. Running the Shockwave, I like that. I like that card. Nothing else notable. Only running 7 2Ks. Doflamingo, only 3 Perona. Please stop. Ooh, 2 Houndblaze. 2 Houndblaze spotted. I think this card could actually be good. I hate the double femur. One of these femurs should just be 4th Perona. Also, only 2 Buggy. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Shanks, the full 4 Lucky Roo is kind of crazy to me. Playing the KO Shanks. Nothing else too notable. No Red Hawk. Min's Boyfriend. Running 2 Shirahoshi, 3 Kuzan. 3 events. Feel like 2 is a little bit more standard now. Not running any Ivankovs or Namis or any tech cards like that. Is this our first purple Luffy? No, it's our second. Shoutouts to Egoist. 2 Bonclay, 1 Usopp. 4 Magellan is crazy work to me, honestly. Like, this card is like really good into the black decks, obviously. It's good into an L, but you already beat an L. But like, this is like the single most dead card possible versus Doflamingo. Like, it's actually just genuinely unplayable. So this is crazy to me. I don't get the Usopp, like, just run another Bonclay. I don't get why anyone runs this over more copies of Bonclay, to be honest with you. I don't get it. Maybe Egoist can explain in the comments. Blackbeard, we got the Sky Slicers, we got the Shockwaves. Only 3 My Era. Only 2 Black Hole. Okay, we got our first Enel. There's a reason why we always have to scroll this far to get an L. It's a bad deck. You shouldn't queue it. Braham. I have no idea what this card does. Effect activate main. Once per turn, you may place 1 stage with a cost of 1 at the bottom of its owner's deck. Rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This is for Blackbeard. Interesting Blackbeard tech. Interesting Blackbeard tech. I haven't seen that before. I know this is for Blackbeard. Only 3 Gadatsu is pretty interesting. No Rocket Luffy's. If you're playing a Nell and you need Shirahoshis, hit me up. The championship Shirahoshis. 2 Perfume, no Jozu's. How many 2Ks? 4, 12, the full 12, okay. Let's see, we're looking at the full 12, 2 Jozu. This list looks pretty standard. Only 3 Teach. Shanks. Nothing too notable besides the 4 Lucky Roo. Only 1 Rayleigh. 2 Shirahoshi. We're seeing a lot of 3 Kuzan. I'm not sure what that's about. I feel like Kuzan seems like a 4 of, in my opinion, but the Viola, I think this card is gas. Um, 4 Lucky Roo. Okay, so Lucky Roo is like really making a statement. Lucky Roo, when the format started, I think Noel had a big influence, telling everyone Lucky Roo was trash, and it seems to have really come back. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments if you know exactly why Lucky Roo has come back. I like the Shockwave and the Sky Slicers. Only 7 2Ks. Smoker at 33rd, so we're not going to look at it. Y'all get injubated if you want to see the Smoker, but he did not top 32, so. Wow, dude, they're doing it crazy in Europe. In Europe, they got... This is a treasure cup, right? No, this isn't... Where is this? Surely this is not Europe and they have like 100 people playing. I don't even know what treasure cup this is. Someone let me know in the comments. Where was this? Not Europe. Surely. Surely Europe does not have a 100-person treasure cup. This is crazy. Do you still get the full top 64 prizing for this? There's just no way, right? When there's like 100 people? Whatever. They're doing it crazy because Luffy was the most represented deck. Also, like half the field was other. I don't even know what's going on there. Like a third of the field. What the fuck? Anyways, Dofi with the insane conversion rate. Bonnie not even being on this graph, but having this. This is like they're just. I don't even know what's going on here. Shanks completely disappearing. BY Luffy kind of doing whatever. Anel obviously popping off the map because it's a bad deck. Okay, so this is actually from Oceania then, based on Squiggle getting first with BY. 4 Kuzan, 2 Shirahoshi, 1 Nami, 2 Makino, 2 Raigo. Bonnie in second. So I wonder if they lost to Squiggle in the finals. I know the matchup should theoretically be a little bit better because they're not playing Zoro these days. Only 3 Carrot is kind of interesting. Only 3 Kid is kind of interesting. Maybe I'm tripping, but I almost feel like they're playing like less top end than most lists typically do. Maybe I'm wrong though. Third place Doflamingo. We got what? We got 11 2Ks, 3 Jozu, 1 Perfume, 3 Pudding, 4 Teach. I like it. We got another Bonnie. This one is on the full 4 Carrot, 4 Kid, 4 Hody. Yeah, so this list playing slightly more top end. Nothing too interesting, I don't think. Lucci, 3 Spandine, 2 Uta is pretty interesting. 2 Zombie is pretty interesting. The full 4 Jack, I'm not a huge fan of that, but I could see the vision. 2 Sabo. Doflamingo. We got 3 Jozu. Okay. So last week we saw a lot of like Mihawk and Kaido, and this week we're actually seeing none of that. So interesting to see that those cards performed so well last week. Maybe people just weren't expecting them, so that when they 2 Blaze Slice and 4 Tempest Kick, a little bit of a spicy list. What? They got 8th? Okay, I see you. I wonder why they decided to play this. For what specific matchup did they really like it? Also 2 Violet. Wow, this is a spicy list. Oh, Brayden? 9th? Oh, man. Tough. Still on 3 Perona. I disagree so strongly. 2 Perfume, I'm not a fan. Only 3 Buggy, also not a fan. Bonnie again, and they're actually playing the Basil. Only 3 Kid. Nothing too notable, I don't think. And now at 11th, we're already at 6 and 2. Teach. Sky Slicer, Shockwave. Okay, so these cards seem to have been performing pretty well. It's hard to say how many Blackbeard players showed up with those cards, but I think they're pretty good. 2 Law, pretty interesting. 2 Usopp. I really don't see the vision with the Usopp, honestly. Ooh, 2 Slow Beam Sword. I actually think this card's really good. To be honest with you, I think this card's actually low-key really good. Yeah, more Shockwave. Shockwave really, really performing well this weekend, it looks like. Maybe a little bit of people not playing around it. 2 Law. Definitely, I think the card gets a lot more value if people don't understand that it's in the format. Marco playing a Chopper package. I haven't really seen that before. And playing the Aces. Huh. I feel like this thing actually misses like a lot. You have what? One, two, three, four. You have 16 targets. Okay, so it looks like oh, whoops. Okay, we only need one. I guess the chance to hit is still like 88%. So, actually not bad. I kind of thought maybe it might be worse than that with only 16 targets, but that's not bad. That's not bad, actually. I mean, we're kind of forced to play this, like, actually just awful 2K, but... Anel at 28th. We've got a Cracker, which is kind of interesting. We've got the Bonnie. I think this card is so good, but I understand why they don't play it. We've got one of these 10 drops. They're only running 2 events, and they're running the Zorojuro. So last week, it seems like that list that was running none of the Zorojuro didn't really... I'm not going to look at a Nami list. Shanks, nothing too interesting. Boa, only 2 Law? I really don't like the Borsalinos. The Mihawk is kind of interesting. Yeah. Okay, so shout out to Oceania for doing whatever they do, man. Next we have this is Europe's noHeroes Treasure Cup. BY super performing in this one. Doflamingo also always performing really well, but the standout is for sure BY, which does in part explain why Teach won this event. The full 8 2Ks, no Shockwave, no Tempest Sky Slicer, instead playing 4 Tempest Kick. Only 2 Black Hole, 4 Stage. Playing the full 4 Vasco Shot, and no Laboons. So if you really want a budget deck, this deck is probably like $30, and it just won the Treasure Cup, so... impressive stuff. Next we have Angelo on BY. Nothing too notable, I'd say. This list I know is spicy. Shoutouts to Ralzo Hervey. I wish I knew how to pronounce his name. Hervey? Hervey? I don't know. Someone let me know how to pronounce it. I really don't know. Gum Gum Bell. Yeah, really interested in knowing what this was for. I'm sure he explained it somewhere and I just haven't seen it. The I Have My Crew. I think this card is underrated. I think more lists should play this. The one zombie Luffy. I'm really not sure I get this. The Perona, he did explain this. I saw the explanation for it. He just thinks it's like a good forward on turn into Dofi. I don't know if it really warrants a spot, in my opinion, to be honest with you. But he is way better than I am, so he's right, I'm wrong. Doflamingo, we have 11 2Ks playing the Cope 7-drop Dofi, bad card. 2 Jozu. This kind of looks like all the other lists that did really well in NA, except we just swapped a Jozu for Dofi. This list does play the Laboon because, like, oh wow, the Kaido, that's very different. Wow, the Europeans were really cooking with Blackbeard this weekend. We got another BY. BY doing really well in top 8. Really, really, really well in top 8. Nothing too notable. Yeah, we have what? 3 of the top 8? And only 1 Doflamingo? I feel like that doesn't really happen. We got a purple Luffy. Shout out to anyone who's still watching this video. Super appreciate you tuning in. For 2 Sabo, 1 Monkey D Luffy, only 2 Jack, 2 Kaido. Interesting. 2 Uta. So Uta seems to be getting more popular. There's a moment in 8.5 where it was super. Oh, the Marco, the Pop Shanks, only 2 Ace, 2 Lucky Roo, 1 Snake. There was a moment in 8.5 where Uta was really popular, and then it's really fallen out of favor, I would say. But it seems like people have kind of come back to the Uta. I think this is Armon. So 10th place was the last 9-1. So only 2 people bubbled. Oh, the Kaya. That's interesting. 3 Jozu. I'm not a huge fan of Kaya, but it's not horrible. But I'm not a huge fan personally. Running the full 7. Dofi. Running 11 2Ks. 11 really seems super standard right now. Seems like most people are opting for 11. We see some 12s, almost no 10s, which I do feel like there's a moment in time where 10 was pretty reasonable. Nothing interesting here. Only 2 Onami. We have 3, yeah. 3 Gravity Blades is slightly notable. That's, what did they cut for the Gravity Blade? I guess a Gecko. Only 2 Gecko. Once again, it was 11 2Ks. This is Fabian. 1 Hoshi, 2 Nami. We're seeing more Namis in the European lists. That's not that surprising. Oh, an Ice Age. That's, you like never see Ice Age in the lists anymore. That's really interesting. I wonder why he decided to play Ice Age. 3 Tempest Kicks. That's like our flex spot. Only 7 2Ks. Blackbeard performed really, really well this last weekend. Like, really, really well. Oh, finally found our first big drop in the Kaido. I think maybe only 3 Sengoku. What are we doing? I think last weekend, we saw a lot of those big drops, and I think maybe they just caught everyone off guard. It might have just been a flash in the pan. Because I will say I tried them a little bit after last weekend, and I wasn't a huge fan, so not too surprising to me necessarily. Nothing too interesting there. Only 3 Buggy. Pretty standard list, I would say. Teach. We've got 2 Shockwave, 2 Tempest Kick, only 3 Stage, only 6 2Ks, so really pushing the boundaries of the 2Ks. Two Kaido with Soap Sheep. Pretty standard list. Something I'll say about the Lucci list that we see performing well is I'm currently of the opinion that you should be running a list similar to how Giovanni was, where you should be running the pistols and no Kaidos and whatnot. And so far, what we've seen, that's just not what the good Lucci players have been doing. Only one Viola is kind of interesting. No Rygos. That's interesting. I wonder if they lost to a Blackbeard player. Yep. Only 3 Kamazo. That's a little interesting. 3 Jack. I hate Jack in this deck. I would love to know why they thought it was good enough to play 3. Yep, nothing notable there. We're just kind of speeding through at this point. 3 Law. Yeah, so it looks like the big drops from Doflamingo really fell out of favor. BY started to run some more interesting texts in a few different lists. We saw a lot more Nami, the Perona, a little bit of I Have My Crew, a couple Gum Bells. Blackbeard had a huge resurgence this week. It kind of feels like Purple Luffy fell off a little bit. A bit of a down week for Purple Luffy and Shanks. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.